Hey everyone, this is Tim Enlow, and welcome to I Want to Be an Evangelist. This stream is designed to help people that are trying to figure out what God has for them next. And perhaps you're exploring the call to be an evangelist, whether that means you sell everything and buy an RV and start trotting across the globe, maybe not the oceans, or whether that means that you say, hey, I'm going to keep my vocation and I'm going to go preach in the streets or wherever God opens up the door. That's between God and you. He'll help you figure that out. But we are here to give stories of inspiration and help and some wisdom to lend to that process. And I am so excited to be joined by the greatest co-host on planet Earth. What was his name again? Oh, Aaron Holt. Hey, Aaron. It's great to have you, brother. How you doing?
It's good to be here, Tim. And man, I appreciate the wild applause of the audience.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? I heard that. That was. Yeah.
I'm giving you a sitting ovation right now.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
It's like sitcom laughter in the background. That's what I'm hearing right now. But Tim, excited for this episode because one of my mentors and heroes in the evangelist world, Greg Hubbard, is joining us as our guest. And my wife and I hold Greg and Robin Hubbard in high esteem, as do so many across our movement and across the country. We had the opportunity
and
the world, yes. But Julie and I had the opportunity to be on staff at Greg's home church in Reading, Pennsylvania for over 15 years. They're still there, based out of that church. Greg so kindly shared his air-conditioned home when we didn't have one and we were having babies in the middle of the summer, and he'd be on the road and he would say, here's the keys, just go.
That is true friendship right there.
Don't eat my M&Ms. That was the only rule.
We're still looking for the silverware, though. We can't find the silverware.
Well, it's still on eBay. I've been trying to sell it for years now. But Greg, it's such an honor to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, let me interject something. Greg, I don't know if we've had this conversation, but in 1990 or 91, I was in Bible college, Central Bible College. I was traveling in the summer with a worship group. And you spoke at two of the camps we were at. We did 13 camps that summer. It was crazy. And you were at two of the camps. And in both of those camps, you sat down with me for hours, probably longer than you wanted to, and just poured into me. And I just wanted to say thank you for your influence in my life as well. I mean, that's remarkable. You're one of the people that really poured into me. I'm so grateful for that.
Great memories. I remember those camps, Tim. Those are great memories, man. Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, Greg, I often tell the story of when Julie and I were able to bring a group of students with you and Robin to India and to Bangalore and to Madurai, and what an incredible experience we had.
What a time that was.
What a time. So Greg, this is I Want to Be an Evangelist, and this is we'd love to have veteran evangelists join us for a couple minutes just to unpack the call into evangelism, or the call into becoming a full-time evangelist. So would you mind just kind of walking us through that, what that was like for you and Robin, those early days when you were sensing God has his hand on our life and he wants us to take the step of faith to become full-time evangelists?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this time, guys. Thanks so much for letting me be here. I was saved when I was 17, didn't grow up in the church, so no church background, anything like that. But I remember a couple of weeks after I gave my heart to the Lord, there was an evangelist that came to our home church in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I just sensed kind of immediately that, my goodness, I think that's something that I would love to do. Like God put a drop of desire in my heart. And I began to nurture that, talking with our pastor that was there, and then received the counsel I needed to go to Bible school. It wasn't like, again, I grew up in the church. So I went to Bible school 9 months after becoming a believer.
Wow.
And so I was a new Christian in Bible school, but I found myself drawn to chapel speakers that would come who were evangelists. It began to meet with them and pick their brain. And the Lord just began to deepen that call in my heart, where I knew early on. And I'm not sure why, but I can honestly say I knew early on that I wasn't called to be a pastor. I wasn't called to whatever, but I was called to be an evangelist. But what helped me to define that was speaking to people that were already doing it. and just picking their brain. I remember at one season at Valley Forge, Dr. James Brown, who now was in heaven, but was an evangelist for many, many years. And I would spend hours in his office. He would let Robert and I travel with him on weekends and learning from him, gleaning things. So, as I began to pursue that, the Lord just kept planting it deeper and deeper and deeper in my heart, that call to being an evangelist. And then just began to pursue that, in many practical ways. So knew early on, but a lot of it had to do with people speaking into my life and in picking the brains of people. Again, they were already doing it.
So what were the first steps after you left Valley Forge? It was probably Valley Forge Christian College then. Now it's University of Valley Forge, right? And that's a long-standing, I think, founded in the 30s or something like that, ministry training school. But after leaving Valley Forge, what were your first steps? Did you go right into evangelism, or did God have a different pathway for you that helped kind of form that?
Yeah, different pathway, Tim. You know what? I wanted to jump right into evangelistic ministry, but I had no church background at all. So I left school and went to be a youth pastor. I needed to be in a church setting, to be mentored, just the disciplines of ministry, that kind of a thing. So it was in a short time in Pittsfield, Mass. The pastor there went back to the mission field. And then I went back to the church I accepted Christ in Agawam, Mass. Great church,
Yeah.
Pastor Ed Berkey, and was there for just under 5 years. And during that time, though, Pastor Berkey recognized that call in my life and in Robin. So he would let me preach a lot. We had a large staff there, but I'll never forget one time he walked in my office and said, "I want you to take the next 4 Sunday nights and preach," which is unheard of there. And I look back now and I think, what a gift that was.
Yeah.
After 3.5 years there, I said to Pastor Berkey, it's time, we want to launch out. So I want to give him a resignation. And he said, no. He said that you're not ready yet. And I wasn't aware that you could resign and someone could say no, but Robin agreed with him that it wasn't time. So I said, okay, we'll stay 1 more year. And then once we agreed to that, the next week, I'll never forget this, you walked into the office and said, starting next month as a church, we're sending you out once a month as our church evangelist. We're still going to pay you. And what a gift that was. He said, I want you to get your feet wet the first year. And I will never forget that gift. So I could go out preaching, and he helped us get meetings. He was so respected, is so respected. And so that before we launched out full time, I was going out once a month for like a Sunday to a Wednesday. And that really launched us into evangelistic ministry. Then that next year we launched out full time.
Yeah. And so Greg, I didn't know a lot of this part of your story. I had connected with you as like Tim did as a young person. Julie and I going to camp. You and Robin were our favorite youth camp evangelists. It was like, Greg and Robin to be there. And then we end up, on staff at your home church now in Reading, where you've been for what, almost 20, 25 years now. You've been
over 25 years. Yeah. I can't believe that.
And you were a big part of the reason we ended up there. Because you had, given them my name to say, hey, you should consider this guy for youth. But I'll never forget, Tim. This was so funny. I'm on staff at a church in Pittsburgh, and our secretary buzzes my office and says, hey, there's a phone call from you. And I said, who is it? And she said, it's somebody named Larry Bird. And I'm like the Larry Bird. And she said, I don't know. That's who it is. And I'm like, this is Greg. This is Greg Hubbard calling me right now.
Just living my dream.
Yeah. But what I want to unpack, so you've always been based out of a home church and highly connected and served that house well. Can you talk about that, especially for the leader who's listening right now, they're thinking about being an evangelist? Talk about the value of having a wonderful home church that you're based out of and the covering that provides for you.
Yeah, great question, Aaron. For the first several years, we were just out there traveling. People would ask us, where's your home church? We had one, but weren't connected in any way, really. And then when we were here for meetings in Reading, Pennsylvania, I think it's like 27 years ago now, 26 years ago, the meetings went on for several weeks, just a real sovereign move of God, which just those special times. And the Pastor Brian at the time, I remember at a Friendly's restaurant, he said, what if we would continue these services, but in a different framework? What if you come and live here? It will do this once a month. At first, I kind of balked at that. I thought it might be too restrictive or whatever. Prayed about it, talked with them more about it. And guys, it has been the greatest gift to be under the covering of a home church. Like right now, I mean, I'm in the green room at my home church because I didn't know how to set up the external microphone and all that stuff. And so, but just the blessing of having relationships and really having a legit home church, having a covering. I speak here maybe 6 times a year. The other 6 months, we committed years ago to be here 1 week a month. Now it's 6 times a year. Then the other times were overseas, the weeks that we would be here with their blessing, their favor. And so it has brought such health, not just to our ministry, but to our personal lives. And it's meant more than we could have ever imagined. They keep us grounded. I think sometimes as an evangelist, I'll speak for myself, I think we can get weird if we're not connected, if we're just kind of out there doing our own thing and all of that. But it helps us to be grounded, I think, to know the everyday struggles of a staff, a team, a church. So it's helped me not only being here personally, but when I go to churches, I find myself more mindful of staff, what they go through, the everyday kind of a deal. So it's been such a blessing.
And so a moment ago, Aaron, you mentioned that he called and said this was Larry Bird. So I just a quick second. You got to just talk for a minute about your basketball legacy here.
Well, I'm from New England, so Tim, if you cut me, I bleed.
So you're a Lakers fan, right? Okay.
Yeah. I bleed green, but right now it's a sad green after last night.
Right.
But it's going to make the comeback so sweet. But my dad was a pro basketball player. Basketball is a big deal in our family. Actually, that's how I first knew about the Lord. Came to hear a message at a basketball tournament. I didn't know it was a church tournament. And that was the night where the Lord began to deal with me. But so, I'm a big Bird fan.
Well, with that, talking about, basketball outreach, and your ministry has been so diverse over the years. You do international crusades. You partner with ministries like orphanages. You work within the confines of local churches. You do outreaches through your local church as well. Talk about the diversity of the expression of the gift of evangelist as you have experienced it.
Yeah, and I think that's one big thing for anyone looking to maybe to pursue the call to be an evangelist, that it can look different for each person. And I always try to encourage someone, it doesn't need to be a carbon copy of someone that maybe you've been touched by. But I know for us, it kind of broadened. It began with doing tons of youth camps. And just talking with Aaron, I have one coming up in a few weeks. I haven't done a youth camp in a long time, so I'm already sweating about that one, but I can't wait. But we did about 140 youth camps over the years, district youth camps, and loved them. And that opened up doors with churches and opened up districts. Maybe you close some districts, whatever. But
I don't think
so youth ministry has always been a part of our life, because being a youth pastor and then youth camps and then the church revivals. And then I remember Dwight Dobson, a missionary years ago, walked into my office in Massachusetts and said, "Would you bring a team to Egypt?" And I had no idea that on that trip, God would drop missions in us to now we're heavily involved in missions, and which is a passion in us more than ever. And it just kind of evolved over years. It wasn't anything that we really pursued, but the Lord just began to guide our steps the way that he does so beautifully for all of us, and begin to direct us, guide us, redirect us. And so that has been a great joy, the diversity. So we enjoy that so much.
Love it. And I've benefited from that, personally. I mentioned earlier when I was, youth pastor in there at GT in Reading, we took students to India along with you and Robin. And so we got to see firsthand the way God is using you and the impact that you guys have in that way. Tim, I think I was going to ask a question to change direction here, but why don't you? I
just wanted to amplify something that, when you go overseas, you've you're not only, like, most people think of evangelists as this monolithic, you're on a platform waving a Bible, which hopefully that is iconically what we do. But overseas, when you're overseas, you guys get involved not only with going out in big outreaches, you do African, big festival crusade outreaches, but you also are tied in with local ministries and churches there. Can you just take for just a second and tell some of the diverse things that you guys do when you go overseas?
Sure, absolutely. And you mentioned that word relationships, and that is really what this is all about. I think for any evangelist, it's for longevity, it's relationships. And for overseas, for us, our lanes are India, Zimbabwe, and Romania. We've gone to some other places, but we have just found the Lord had us kind of hone in on those places. And now I see the real benefit of that, the longevity, the relationships. So Zimbabwe, we do have the festivals, the outreaches, but they're all to plant local churches, not just to draw. It's nice to have the big crowd preaching. We all enjoy that. It's exciting and all the souls. But the main thrust of that is to plant a healthy, strong local church in Zimbabwe. But also in Zimbabwe, there's the solar powered water wells, which Tim, I know you're involved in big time in Africa with water. And so we want to put water wells all over Zimbabwe, Africa. And then in Romania, it's different. In Romania, we go to small little villages. We're heavily involved with feeding programs there, with staffing of that, providing for that. And that has become such a joy, just going in these small little villages and doing kids outreaches and, clothing things, buying sneakers. Again, when I say this, I always want to be careful. This isn't us doing that. We have partners. We're like the pipe. We get to be the pipe where things flow through. Yeah. And so what a joy to be in a village, seeing a kid with a new pair of sneakers and or watching kids eat food. That's their best meal of the day. And then in India, we have a camp every October in Kolkata, India, for children that are born out of human trafficking. And we think of trafficking as the girls that are trafficked, and that's horrific. And we're involved in that there as well. But there are kids being born out of trafficking. So I think this year is going to be our 14th year having a camp for them. We bus them in. It's catered at the Mark Buntain Church. And they're receiving the baptism. Some have been called into ministry, crafts. They get all kind of gifts, and we have a track for the younger kids. And Jamel's been there a million times preaching to the older kids. And so we look at it like this: if the devil can do what he's doing with trafficking, where kids are being born out of this, why can't Jesus save those kids, fill them, and launch them to see India washed in the blood of Jesus? So we just love that outreach there. And there's an orphanage there as well called Home of Hope. We're heavily involved in with that, and know all the girls. I think there's like 52 girls there. Know them by name. Robin more than I, because their names are hard to pronounce. But these things have been such a joy. So there is diversity, but each one I could say is a passion, and we just are so honored to serve the Lord. So.
Love it. Greg, I'd like to ask you one more question before we wrap up this episode. Talk to the maybe it's a young person, maybe it's someone serving on a staff somewhere at church, maybe it's a lead pastor. I don't know, but talk to the person who's listening or watching, and they have been praying about, am I called to take a step of faith into becoming a full-time evangelist? How would you encourage them? How would you coach them? Put your coach's hat on real quick and just coach them up. What are some of your thoughts that you would pass on to them as they're praying about that?
Sure. Aaron, you know what? When I'm talking to any couple or young couple or an older couple that feels this calling, I always love the analogy of an airplane. We all want to immediately be at 36,000 feet up in the air, just cruising, but there's the preparation, the packing, the taxing. Sometimes there are delays. And so I think for the big thing is how do I begin? How do you begin? And I will encourage somebody, it's for someone that feels called to launch into ministry, itinerant evangelism ministry. It's going to begin with people that and beginning to network with them and talking with them. And I'll encourage someone that for anyone, to be an evangelist, I really believe there's three things. There's somebody may have you in your church because of a reference. they'll have you back because of results. But for there to be longevity, there's going to have to be relationships.
Oh, that's good.
So starting out, there's so many aspects of that, of being comfortable beginning with a circle of people that you know. There are churches, we've been traveling now for over 40 years. And I know there's churches that are never, ever going to have us. And to be okay with that, because they don't know us, whatever, and not to let that eat away at you, but be comfortable beginning with people that you know and letting that blossom. Let God, because again, like flying a plane, you don't go from ground level to, there's that gradual ascent. And so just encouraging them to not be afraid and to not despise small beginnings. We're still small potatoes, and I'm not saying that with any false humility or whatever, but still trying to figure some of these things out. But you got to start. And I find there's many people called that bail in the taxing process, like on that airplane, because it's not happening fast enough, doors aren't opening quick enough. Man, be willing to go anywhere to preach. Go to a nursing home. Go to a whatever, wherever it may be, and just begin to hone that gift and let God use you. But not to despise the beginning stages of that and feeling like it's got to be this big, massive thing, whatever. Just enjoy the journey and let God define that gift and hone that gift in your life.
That's so good. So good. And you had the alliteration with the R's there. So it's anointed.
Almost like you're a preacher or something.
I did that in honor of Jimmy Davis.
Hey, real quick before Aaron closes us out, Greg, how long have you been an evangelist now?
It is started in
you crossed 40 years, right?
Yeah, 40 years. Yeah, 40 years.
Wow. Come on, man.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly 40 years.
Amazing.
So for those listening or watching, you're getting wisdom from somebody that didn't just start yesterday. This is gold today, Greg. Wow, we appreciate you.
Yeah, so good.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for this time, man. What a joy, privilege for me.
Yeah, Greg, thank you for the investment you've made in my life, in my wife's life, in my kids' life. Tim, when we were on staff at GT, Greg and Robin adopted our kids, and every Easter they would bring these massive Easter baskets full of candy into my office. I'd go in there Sunday morning, and so my kids they're sad that they're adults now and that they don't get the Easter basket from Greg and Robin anymore.
I'll talk to Robin today. We'll take care of that next Easter.
But Greg, we love you
guys. We love you, both of you. Thank God for both of your lives, man.
Yeah. Hey, for people that are watching or listening, they want to connect with you. What's the easiest way for them to get a hold of you?
Email gregdhubbard@comcast.net, or I'm an old guy, so Facebook or on our website, hubbardministries.org.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome. So, hey, Greg, thanks again for joining us for this episode of I Want to Be an Evangelist. For those of you watching and are listening, if you love what we're doing with this podcast and this YouTube channel, we would love it if you'd share this video, send it to somebody who's considering the call to be an evangelist. Subscribe, click all those notification buttons, whatever they are, and help us spread the word about the great conversation and content that we're able to do on this platform. So, Greg, once again, thank you. Tim,
thank you guys.
And we'll see all of you on the next episode of I Want to Be an Evangelist.